Hello everyone, this is Mr. Isometric and welcome back to Unity Car tutorial series. And in the previous video, as you can see, we were up to this point where we have installed our bolt inside the Unity. So let's today make some materials for our car body, wheels, and make a floor, and also set up our scene for Unity graph variables and stuff. Okay, so let's get into it. So first thing I'll do is let's make a plane, create a 3D object, plane. Let's right click on the transform and reset its position. Great. Now let's select our car position is at 0, 0, 0, so let's pick our car up, okay, like this. Now let's select our plane and now let's scale it up on the x-axis, like or 50, I guess 50 is good, and on the y 50, so we get some space for our car to move on. Okay, so let's give them some material now, and also let's just as we are going to see car from the back, I think we should also rotate the light towards the forward. So I'll select the light, and here on the rotation on X, let's move it somewhat there. Okay, that looks fine. Okay, that looks great. We can also change the color over here. Let's set it to white. Okay, that looks good. Now let's make a material folder and name it material. And now let's open that folder. Let's right click, create material, press F2 to rename, and let's call it body. Let's create another material and let's call it wheels. And one more time, creating a material for ground, if I can spell it. Okay, here you go. And now let's select our body and let's click on here on albedo. There is a symbol over here. Let's click on that and let's scroll down and let's find this default checkers. Let's drag and drop this on the body, and now let's scroll down, and in tiling here we can select 50 and 50. Okay, great. And as you can see, it's a bit too much, so let's decrease it, like okay. So I have now decreased its value to somewhat around 10. Let's do the same with ground. I'll just select my albedo and find the checkers texture, drag and drop it on there. And as this is a big plane, let's set our tiling to somewhat like 100 by 100. You can later change this material as you want. And let's select on the wheels, same, we will select the checkers and drag and drop it on the 4 wheels. Great. Now let's set the tiling to somewhat around 20 by 20. I guess that's too much. 10, I guess. Okay, so 10 looks good. I might reduce it to like 4. Okay, so the reason we did this is because we will now be able to see if our car is moving, and like we will have a clear idea if our car is moving and stuff. Okay, so also you can now change the color of this. So let's change our ground to somewhat like purple. That's a bit too dark. Okay, let's change our body to red, and our wheel color to green. Okay, so our car is been set up, and now the only thing we have to see is, now as in the last video we have rigged our car with some colliders. So now let's see if that car works with the plane. I'll hit play, and as you can see my car just vanished. So to see what happened, let's zoom out, let's separate this game view. Okay, and let's play it again. And as you can see my car bounced off in the infinity over. So the reason behind that is, as we can see, our in the simple car, in our rigid body, the mass is of 1 kg, and our wheel colliders, they have suspension of over 35,000. So to get over it, we'll just select our car. Inside the rigid body we will type something, mass around something like 1500. Let's hit play again. Okay, so as you can see my car didn't jump now. It's not quite stable on the ground, but that's not the issue right now. It will be fixed when we will script our car. So let's get out of display mode. Okay, so now we will position our camera behind the car. Let's grab it on the Y, place it just above there. Okay, and now we will rotate on Y 180 degree so we can see our car. We can also now parent our camera directly to our car, but let's just start with the camera follower script. I think that will be a good start. And also, if we just directly parent our camera to our car, if our car rotates in the air, our camera will rotate with it, and it looks really weird. Now we will see how to set up the scene for scripting. Let's drag this up. Okay, so now go to the Windows, select graph and dock it right over here. Let's club that there. Okay, and now we also need, let's go to the Windows, we need a graph inspector. Put graph inspector right over there. Let's pull it up. And also we need a variable tab. Let's dock it right there with the graph. Okay, so this is our basic setup for scripting in visual scripting. So the first thing we have to do is we need to get the position of our car and feed that into the position of our camera, so that with the offset vector, because if we directly just imagine the position of our car is at there at this center. Okay, if we set this position to our camera will snap directly to the center of the car. But if we add some values between this Y and Z, then our camera will stay up over here. Okay, so to do that we will use a offset vector. Okay, so in the variables, so first we will go in our, we will select our camera. It's Control S to save the scene. It's like, you should always save your scene after every 20 minutes, I guess. So let's select our main camera, go to variables tab, and in the scene we will create offset vector. Let's type the variable name offset, then hit this plus button, and in this type, which type, we need a vector 3, and our variable is created. The reason why I created this in the scene, because throughout this scene we can use this variable anywhere. If we create the same thing in the graph, the only graph which is on the main camera can only use it. I mostly use scene to create variables. Okay, now let's drag it down. let's add component, and this step will be same for every visual scripting. Okay, add component, go to bolt, go to flow machine, and on here click, select the macro, not embedded macro, click on new, and let's create a new folder, name it as macros. Okay, it's not important, you can save it here, but just for cleanup purpose. Okay, let's name it camera follower. You can give the title and summary if you want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now let's drop it down, variables tab. Okay, drag it up, and as you can see there is a start event and update event, and in the text programming also there is a start loop and update loop. Okay, update function, I guess that's function, it's called function. So now the thing we have to do is we first have to get, we are now in the we have selected camera, and this component, this flow machine was added on the camera itself, so we need to take the instance of this car. So what we will do is, let's create a car object. We need to create the instance of car, so let's name this variable car, hit plus, and we need to instance a game object, so let's select the game object, and we are doing this in the scene variable, don't forget that. Click on this plus button and we will select our this simple car. Okay, so now we have created our variable of simple car. So the first thing we need to do is, you can click over here and drag it out, or you can just right click here, or right click over here, and you can go in the variables tab in the scene. You can now, as you can see, there is a get car variable over here, get and set car. Okay, so we will get car, and now the thing is we want to take its position, so let's drag and drop it out, and we will search for position, POS, position. Okay, so as you can see we got its there is one transform name as get position. We will select that, and from the symbol you can say that it's a vector. Okay, X, Y and Z, and now we need to feed this into the camera's position, right? So now we will just right click and again type in position, and this time we will select the set position, and as you can see over here it's written as self, and self from it means that it we are the flow machine is on the main camera, so this self represents the camera. And the reason why we made the car instance is that if you plug it out, as you can see the get position is now set to the self. Now this position is of the camera and not the car, so if we just take our car object instance, say, and plug it into that, so now this get position is of the car and not the camera. Okay, so now we need to set our this car position to the camera, but we need to add an offset. So what we will do is just right click over this node to remove it, and we need to add in this offset, so let's drag and drop it here. Now let's take that, and as you can see I already got the add, and over the bottom as you can see there is a summary given over there, return the sum of two 3D vectors. There are different type of add, there is a scalar add and this is the vector add. So we need to add two vectors, even though it's not showing it in here, but we know that the offset is a vector type, so we need to add two vectors. So drag and drop, add, and as you can see from the symbols we can just add them together. And also if you don't want to create this vector variable, you can also choose the values over here and substitute over here like 1 0, like 10 1 and stuff. Okay, so let's just make them 0 and add via vector and plug it into it. And as you can see, this is done, but we need to keep updating it. Right click, add unit, or if nothing is selected, you can just right click and this appears, so it's one and the same. If something is selected and you right click, you just need to click add unit, and we need an update event. Okay, let's type in update. It will take some time, so we can choose this update event and just plug it into here. So now the codes are executed from top to bottom, just like the codes will be executed with this flow. You can add components to this flow. We will see that in the future videos. Okay, so now as you can see, we have added our camera. So now let's hit play. I'll just make this screen bigger. Let's hit play. Let's save first and hit play. Okay, so as I said earlier, the vector, the position from, and from here you can also visualize that the car position on the X, Y and Z is shown over here. Okay, and now we are adding 0 0 0 to it. So if I add on the Y, we will add like 5, no, let's add 11, I think 10 would, no, okay, 10. Okay, and on the Y we will go like 5, no, let's go 4, 3, okay, 2 looks good. I think I'll go for 3 and I'll just make it a back a little bit. Okay, 12, that's good. So now if you get out of the play mode, this value will get again to 0 0 0. So just remember your value now. It's 3 for Y and Z for 12, 3 and 12. Let's get out of the edit mode. As you can see, it's reverted back. So let's just type in 3 and 12 and you're done with the camera follower script. Now let's just hit play again. Okay, so now I'll select my car, and in the scene view, if we move the car, camera follows it too. Okay, so our camera follower script is done. And also, as I said, if I rotate the car right now, okay, our camera doesn't move with it, but our car moves, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so our camera follower script is done. This is our first script in the visual scripting tool with Bolt in our car tutorial. I think it's way too long right now, so in the next tutorial we will make the script for our back wheels. We will add some torque to it. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.